someone told you that you were too sensitive. Maybe it was a parent, a partner, a friend, a teacher. Maybe it was so many people, so many times that you stopped arguing and started believing them. You cry at things others brush off. You feel everything deeply. You notice shifts in energy that nobody else seems to pick up on. You carry other people's pain as if it were your own. And you've spent years trying to feel less, trying to be more rational, more detached, more like the people who seem to move through the world without being affected by it. But here's what I want you to consider. What if the problem was never that you felt too much? What if the problem was that you were never in a place where it was safe to feel at all? That's what this video is about. And by the end of it, I think you will see yourself very differently. In this video, we're going to look at why some people feel so deeply, where that intensity comes from, and why being told you're too sensitive is one of the most damaging things a person can be told and one of the most misunderstood. This isn't a video about being fragile. It's about understanding a type of nervous system that was shaped by specific experiences and what it actually means to finally feel safe enough to be who you are. Welcome to MindFrame Lab, where we decode the hidden forces behind human behavior. Let's start with what sensitivity actually is, because it's been misrepresented for a long time. Research by psychologist Elaine Aron identified a trait she called high sensitivity, or sensory processing sensitivity. It affects roughly 15 to 20% of the population, and it's not a disorder, a weakness, or a personality flaw. It's a neurological difference, a nervous system that processes information more deeply, more thoroughly, and more intensely than average. Highly sensitive people notice things others miss. They process experiences at a deeper level. They feel emotions more intensely, not because they're broken, but because their nervous system is wired for depth. In the right environment, one where this trait is understood and respected, high sensitivity is a profound strength. It produces extraordinary empathy, creativity, intuition, and depth of connection. But in the wrong environment, one where big feelings are dismissed, minimized, or punished, something different happens. The child who cries easily is told to toughen up. The teenager who feels deeply is told they're too emotional. The adult who notices everything is told they're overreacting. And slowly they learn that their emotional experience is a problem. That feeling is something to be managed, suppressed, hidden. They don't stop feeling, they just stop showing it. And that distinction between someone who doesn't feel much and someone who feels a great deal but has learned to hide it is one of the most important things you'll understand about yourself today. Stay with me, because what comes next explains where this pattern actually begins. The phrase, "you're too sensitive," is almost never just a description. It's a dismissal. It says, your emotional response is disproportionate. It's a problem. It's yours to fix. But here's what it never asks. Why is this person responding this way? What happened to make this feeling so large? What environment taught them that their emotions needed to be this defended? Because here's the thing about intense emotional responses. They almost always make perfect sense in context. When a child grows up in a home where emotions are unpredictable, where a parent might explode or go cold, or make the child feel responsible for their moods, that child's nervous system goes on high alert. It learns to scan the environment constantly, to read every change in tone, every shift in energy, every potential sign of danger. This is not sensitivity. This is survival. The nervous system that notices everything, that feels everything at high intensity, in many cases, that's a nervous system that had to. That was shaped by an environment where missing a cue could have real consequences. And then the person grows up. The environment changes. But the nervous system doesn't get the memo. It's still scanning, still feeling at the same intensity, still bracing for impact in moments of ordinary emotional experience. And when they finally express that, when they cry or feel hurt or need more than others seem to need, they're told they're too sensitive, as if the depth of their feeling is the problem, as if the solution is to feel less. But you can't heal a nervous system by telling it to feel less. And the next part explains exactly why and what actually works instead. Here's something that might reframe everything you've been told about yourself. The people who feel the most deeply are often the people who had the least safety to feel. Think about that for a moment. If you grew up in an environment where your emotions were welcomed, where crying was met with comfort, where anger was met with calm, where fear was met with reassurance, your emotional experiences would be processed and released. They wouldn't accumulate. But if your emotions were met with dismissal or irritation or punishment, if expressing how you felt made things worse, not better, those feelings didn't go away. They went underground, they built up, they became bigger, more pressurized because they had nowhere to go. So when something finally triggers them in adulthood, a moment of rejection, a change in tone, a subtle sign that someone is pulling away, the response isn't just to this moment. It's to every moment like it that was never fully processed. That's what feels like overreacting. That's what looks like too sensitive. But it's not overreaction. It's accumulated experience finally finding a way out. And the people who feel it most intensely are often the ones who needed the most support and got the least. This is not a character flaw. This is the logical outcome of a nervous system that was never given a safe place to land. But here's what changes everything. And this is the part that most people have never been told. The goal is not to feel less. The goal is to feel safely. Those are completely different things, and understanding the difference is where healing actually begins. Feeling less means numbing. It means disconnecting from your own inner experience. It means becoming the flat, detached version of yourself that was never actually you, just the armor you built to survive. Feeling safely means something else entirely. It means your nervous system gradually learns that expressing emotion doesn't lead to punishment or abandonment, that you can be upset and the relationship survives, that you can need something and the person stays. And this doesn't happen through willpower or logic. It happens through experience, through repeated, consistent exposure to environments where your feelings are met with something other than dismissal. This might be a therapist who doesn't flinch when you cry, a friend who says, "Of course you feel that way," instead of "you're overreacting," a partner who stays calm when you're distressed, instead of making it worse. These experiences, small, consistent, repeated over time, are what slowly reprogram a nervous system that was wired for danger. The other piece is learning to be present with your own feelings without immediately trying to fix or escape them, not ruminating, not spiraling, but allowing, sitting with the emotion long enough to understand what it is actually about, without judging yourself for having it. Because here's the truth. Your sensitivity is not the problem. It never was. The problem was that you were never given the conditions to feel it safely. And those conditions can be built, not all at once, not without difficulty, but they can be built. You came into this video having been told in some way that you feel too much. I want to leave you with something different. You don't feel too much. You feel in full. And in a world that rewards people for feeling less, that is not a weakness. It is one of the rarest, most valuable things a human being can be. The sensitivity you've been trying to manage, to suppress, to apologize for, it's the same thing that makes you extraordinary at love, at connection, at understanding people in ways most people never will. The work isn't to feel less. The work is to find the people and the spaces where feeling fully is finally safe. You deserve that, not as a reward for changing who you are, but exactly as you are. Share this with someone who has been told they're too sensitive, because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is hand someone back a part of themselves they were told to leave behind. This channel is for people who want to understand the hidden forces that shape who we are. If that's you, you're exactly where you need to be.